Hi everyone, and welcome back once again to Big Fun Arts. This is Abigail Rudner, and I am going to be working with you today, giving you a lesson on Fireworks CS4 strokes. However, before we begin working with strokes, I just wanted to mention a couple of items regarding the edges of shapes in Fireworks. So here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and click on this gray circle that I have already created inside of this Untitled 1 document. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and when I do so, coming down here to the Properties Inspector and looking at the edge setting, you can see the setting is already on anti-alias, and I could control that number by typing in something here if and only if I choose feather. And once I do that, I can begin to play with this number here, feather. Here's 0 feather, which is anti-alias, and then here I'll begin with a feather of 1. Get some feather of 1 here going, which is starting to soften the edge here. So anti-alias, what is it? It is the division between the edge of the shape and the background, or the border of that shape, the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on that using my zoom tool here. So this is a great technique for making objects blend into whatever's behind them. Feather and aliasing. If I set the setting here of the edge too hard on a circle, it gives us a very jaggy line. Now on a square or a rectangle, or even on a polygon such as a triangle, you wouldn't really notice this, but on any shapes that have curves on them, you're going to want to have probably at least an anti-alias, which is a feather of 0. And if you want to create soft edges where you're blending things together behind your shapes, you'll want to apply some feather techniques. So this is a feather of 10, and here's a feather of 5, and you can see that it's less blended. And a feather of 2 is even less blended. All right, now that we've tackled that, we can move on to working with strokes. So I'm going to zoom out here. In fact, I'm going to use a key command to do that. On the Mac, it's Command minus. And on the PC, it is Control minus. So we're zoomed out, and we can see our edge still looks soft. I'm going to change that back to the normal anti-alias setting. And it almost looks jaggy here. Is that right? Anti-alias 0? Yes, that's correct. So I'm down here at 50% zoom factor. So let's get over back to 100. My zoom tool is kind of stuck behind here. Click on it and click once, and now I'm up to 66%, and click again, and now I'm at 100%. Edge looks good, and we're ready to move on to talking about strokes. Strokes are the way that we outline shapes in Fireworks. When you select an object, you have the option, as you have seen, to create a fill of different types, and there are also stroke options. So right now, the stroke option here in the Property Inspector is set to none. The strike through means none here. And when I click on this chip, it opens up the color picker, and I'll go ahead and click a nice dark blue color, and you can see that the shape is selected. When I click away, here's our dark blue stroke. When I click on it in the Property Inspector, we can increase the number of the stroke here, the thickness, to 2. Click away. Click on it again, double click in the field, click and drag. You can slide the slider as well, and now I have a 10.1 pixel soft stroke. So that would be soft line. Okay, so there's all these different strokes in here. There's a basic airbrush, there's a felt tip, there are watercolor paints. So as I choose these different options, you can see that the strokes are changing. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this shape, edit copy, so we can compare and contrast a few of these different stroke types. And I'll go ahead and choose paste. Here I have 2 of these guys. Now I'll select these both, edit, copy, edit, paste, and yada yada. So as I go through these different objects here, I can choose some really interesting aspects, some really interesting techniques that Fireworks allows me to apply to the strokes or outlines of its shapes. Let's try here. Crayon, rake. All right. Now go through and change some of the fill colors. Just take a look at this kind of stuff here. Oh, that's a hideous color. Let's try this. And let's go with a light pink. So now it's your turn. Go ahead and play around with these different options, and I'll meet you back here again in the next lesson and show you a little bit more technique on how to control these shapes, how to control the colors of your fills, and how to even make custom strokes. We'll look at that shortly. And for now, have big fun, and I will be seeing you in the next lesson.